Ave Legion and welcome to my channel. My name is Ludi and today we'll be showing off why Austria is the best world conquest nation in Europe and just how to achieve this. In the video we'll be going over the initial diplomatic situation, early wars, subject management, later expansion, and the ideas that you should go for. If we get the video to 2,000 likes, I'm gonna do a special live stream where I do show you how to achieve a world conquest as Austria. If you enjoy watching my videos, consider subscribing. It would really help me out so much and encourage me to make more videos like these in the future. So if you do subscribe, I promise only quality content back that you will really enjoy. So please subscribe. When it comes to your initial diplomatic situation, Austria is a great nation, strong, and the emperor of the HRE from the beginning. So as long as you keep the emperorship, you're gonna have all the money you need and the troops to win every war imaginable. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our estate to give out the +1 mana for admin, military as well. And before we give out the +1 diplomatic power, we're going to have to dev up the gold mine in Intal, set up the encouraged development first, dev it up once so you get to 5 production. Afterwards we can give out the land of commerce and we can also sell titles. We're basically selling nothing here, and then we can take 5% crownlands. Also give out the private trade fleets, oversight by the clergy, and supremacy over the crown. Rival-wise, go for Bohemia, Ottomans, and France is a great choice also early game. I want to point out, you don't really need a fleet. Keep the trade ships that you might have, but the rest of the ships you can actually sell them off and make a little bit of extra money. And we're also going to be going for the personal union against Bohemia, Hungary, and Milan within the first 5 years. How are we going to do this? With our mission tree. You get a union over Bohemia from securing the electors. That means you have 5 electors of voting for you and having 100 relations. This is quite easy. You basically just either ally or bestow imperial grace or get royal marriage or anything of the sorts. Getting 100 relations with your electors is quite easy. We can also get the Hungarian union after we've gotten Bohemia. Alliance-wise, you want to ally pretty much your electors, as many electors as possible, especially Brandenburg. Trier is a great option, Palatinate is a great option too, and even Mainz. I also recommend allying Burgundy and getting a royal marriage, just in case we might be able to get the Burgundian inheritance on our side by doing these things. In order to get ready for the war against Bohemia, what we really need to do is we need to hire some mercenary units. We're going to go for the independent company and the brand company and the free company. This is vital because we're going to use these mercenaries so that our own manpower pool doesn't get drained in the first few wars. We're also going to merge the main armies here, and we're going to get a general once we have enough military points. Also want to point out that you get a special +3 50% cheaper advisor for your production efficiency. Highly recommend you go for him. Also, if you can get a morale of armies or discipline, go for that. I couldn't get anything decent, so I got the fort defense guy, unfortunately. 2 months later, and everybody now has 100 relations with us, which means we just got the +1 Diplo Rep modifier and the restoration of union against Bohemia. We're going to declare war on them, and if we co-belligerate Volgast, we can even call in Brandenburg. We'll do that. It's not a really big deal, and this way Bohemia is going to focus on Brandenburg. Make sure you also build a spy network in Bohemia. Having a spy network in Bohemia is really great since it means that you can siege down their provinces a lot faster. Because Brandenburg kept getting sieged down, they had to peace out and they gave one province to the nation of Mecklenburg. But that being said, it worked because Bohemia mainly focused on Brandenburg. I didn't lose a single trooper. In fact, we only had 2 battles here, and I did win both of those battles. So we have 50%. We just need a little bit more. That means sieging down one of their capitals here or wiping out their armies, whichever is fine. Wiping out the armies is probably the best choice, however, since it means that it prevents them from sieging down or unsieging the provinces that we sieged. After piecing out the allies of Bohemia, I can now finally do my peace deal with them. And of course, I am going to go for the unification option here, union with Bohemia, which only surprisingly costs 24 aggressive expansion. But I am taking the gold mine of Keb for myself and a little bit of cash on the side. Now, with all the newly added money, a PU over Bohemia, the second gold mine in Keb, and extra power projection from unifying with our former rival here, we've definitely hit the jackpot. Now, this jackpot's going to be going over to Hungary and say, hello, Hungary. And yes, I know that's not how you actually pronounce it, but I just said so, so it must be how you pronounce it. In any case, we now have the Union over Hungary mission completed, and we are going to be attacking them. We can call in the Palatinate, apparently, and we would be at war with Croatia and the Teutons. That, however, is not really any sort of an issue. We're declaring this war, and we're rushing for their capital in Pest, as well as the other forts they have around there. Our subject Bohemia might be a little bit disloyal. You can improve relations with them. If you want them loyal super fast, you can always just pay off their debt, which should work. And there you go, they're now loyal. You can also bring back the spy network from Bohemia and set it up in Hungary instead to make this war a lot easier. During the Hungarian War, I honestly recommend that you just use your armies to focus on their forts. Ignore their armies and their allies' armies. Eventually, you're going to take care of them. But the sooner we get these forts, the sooner we finish this war. We actually don't need 100% war score, but we are going for 100 since we need both these provinces here, aside from the union with Hungary, since we want to get the gold mine in Hont owned by us before we personal union over Hungary. At some point during the first 10 years or so of the game, even faster during the first 5 years, you're going to get a Milanese succession event whenever Milan gets the Ambrosian Republic disaster. When that happens, you get a CB against Milan of Restoration of Union. I recommend you go for that. And before you attack them, grant them electoralship so that you actually have 2 electors as your PU junior partners. Now, we are going to be attacking Milan. Wow, actually only one of their allies is joining. That's pretty good actually for us. We're going to have to wait until the 4th of May. And we're going for the Restoration of Union against Milan as well. We're going to have to divert some of our troops from the Hungarian front once we've taken a few more forts here, since we want to finish the Milan war pretty fast. If need be, you can also recruit some more mercenary companies, but personally I feel like my troops are enough to deal with both of these wars. You might be inclined to piecing out once you've gotten Hungary and you can actually get the PU. I still recommend wait until you finish sieging down their allies and piecing out their allies, as it is worth it getting the Hont gold mine. Finish fully sieging down Milan. We're gonna make them our union member here, take all the cash we can from them, and piece them out. Now we just gotta focus our attention on the Hungarians. And we now can do our peace deal with Hungary. We're going for the Union over Hungary, cash as much as we can get, and the provinces of Trenčín and Hont with the no coalition against us. As I said before, we're going for this simply because we want to get the gold mine in Hont more than anything else. And now we can also get a new rival. I recommend going for the Venetians, as we will be attacking them shortly. You can also do the mission Royal Hungary now, that gives you permanent claims on the Balkans. And we will be attacking the Balkans as we speak. Regroup your troops here and you can start recruiting a regular infantry. You can even disband your mercenaries if they don't have too much manpower. Remember that you have a lot of PU members now, 4 of them because of Croatia included, within the first few years. We want to keep on improving relations with the Hungarians after this, so you want to bring back this guy from here. And we're going to be attacking a few of these nations here, starting off with Bosnia, who we're going to vassalize, and Serbia, who we're also going to be vassalizing. At some point, you're going to get an event, the Diet of Hungarian and Croatian Nobility, which will give out Croatia to Hungary, which means you're not losing an extra Diplo relation slot, so that's actually pretty good for you. After a really quick war against Bosnia and the Serbians here, we're going to peace them out. We're going to actually only vassalize Bosnia for the time being and take the provinces by the border with the Ottomans, and the case of Serbia, including Kosovo, which is another gold mine. This will give us a little bit of a coalition, but the nations in this coalition are of little significance, especially since we will be attacking one of these nations right now. Yes, that is correct. I'm talking about Venice. We're going to attack them, to feed back the cores of our beloved PU member Milan. For declaring our war, going to war with the Venetians is actually pretty good for us since we want to take a few provinces from them aside from the provinces belonging to Milan. Now that we've declared the war, we're also going to finish this other war that we were in and peace out the Bosnians, our very new vassal, with which we will attack Herzegovina and Wallachia for the other cores that our vassal has. Don't forget to concentrate development in the Serbian lands before you core them up to make it cheaper to core. Do not do this in Kosovo because you want to keep it as good as possible for the juicy gold mine. Speaking of gold mines, Intal is already a 9 production, which is giving us roughly 6 ducats alone from this one gold mine of 1454, only 10 years in, and we have all 4 of the European gold mines. There's only one more gold mine in Europe, in Spain, that does not belong to us. Everything else is pretty much ours. Not gonna lie, the Venetian War is probably the most annoying war in the game itself. So I've been at war with these people for what, 6 years now, and I still don't even have above 50% because I don't own the city of Venice itself. In order to get there, I'd need to actually have a fleet. Or there are some other ways that I'm not gonna tell you about because they're kind of cheesy and exploity. But yeah, essentially, in this war, you're going to have to wait after you fully occupy them for quite a while to get the war score you wanted. And what we're going to go for is, of course, we're going to give back to Milan our provinces. We'll be taking Istria in this war, as well as a few other provinces in the Greek parts and some cash. Not much of a coalition, so not really anything you should be worried about. We're going to peace them out just now. And after we've pieced them out, we're going to do the most pro-gamer move in the world. We're going to release Byzantium as a vassal. And there you go. Our vassal, Byzantium's got the cores everywhere around here. So now, we're going to set up our eyesight on the Ottoman. Before we do that, however, we got to regroup our troops, finish the wars in Herzegovina and in the Wallachian parts as well. And afterwards, march on towards the Ottomans. Attack the nation of Herzegovina to re-give your cores to the nation of Bosnia, who's your vassal. And whilst we wait for this, our manpower should slightly go up, our economy should improve as well. And of course, the most important thing, we will actually be getting ready for the war against the Ottomans. Be careful, if they are already military tech 5, they're going to be really tough to deal with. One more thing I should have mentioned from the beginning that I kind of forgot about is the fact that you should always keep your stability, if possible, at 3. Because as the Austrians, you always have the chance of inheriting one of your PU members that's smaller, such as Milan here, whenever your king dies. But this is based on a few things such as stability, diplomatic reputation, which right now is not amazing. The war is going great against these nations as well. We're going to give this out to our beloved vassal here, Bosnia. Look at how many subjects we have. We have to actually scroll down to see whichever one we're going to give the stuff to. Also, make sure to improve relations with your subjects at all times. We're going to piece out the Wallachians first, and because we did co-belligerate them, we are going to be vassalizing them, as well as take as much money as we can take from them. Don't worry about coalitions. As you can see, almost nobody important is joining in a coalition against us. When it comes to the Herzegovinans, of course, fully annex them, give them out to Bosnia here, and that's going to be it for pretty much everybody in the Balkans, except what's left of the Serbians and the Ottomans. And I do stress the Ottomans because we will be attacking the Ottomans. However, before you do decide to attack the Ottomans, you do have to make sure you have a strong enough army. We're going to be recruiting more troops. Also want to point out that you should give out the strong duchies privilege so you get an extra 2 diplo relation slots. Since having this many subjects this early on in the game might be a bit of a challenge if you don't know how to handle them. Our army is mainly going to be composed of regular infantry, but we also will be recruiting some mercenary units, whichever have great generals. So this is really RNG, and your game is going to be different generals than the ones in my game. So pretty much the worst case scenario happened. The Ottomans have gotten vassals in both the Crimeans and Ramazan, as well as they're allied to Akoyunlu. But we are ridiculously overpowered, and to even make us more ridiculously overpowered, we allied the Poles temporarily just so we can attack the Ottomans. with the Poles. That's going to be 120,000 of our troops against roughly half of that on the Ottoman side. Check for their forts. It is actually smart to attack them on the first of any given month, as long as they haven't turned on the forts. You might even be able to snipe some of their forts before the war begins. So for example, it's April. If we attack them now on the 1st, since they did not maintain the fort in Selanik, by the time we get to Selanik, we should be able to snipe it. So we're going to set Selanik as our war goal, Poland the Poles, and start Zever. We're going to set our troops here to march towards Selanik. Also want to point out that your combat width, if it's Tech 5, is 22. If it's Tech 6, it's 24. So make sure you have at least 4 cav units and 18 or 20 infantry to fill your entire front line whenever you engage the Ottomans. That is actually really important in your fights against the Ottomans. We managed to reach their fort before they started maintaining it, so that means before the end of April. And as such, after this is going for 1 tick, it's going to become our province. There you go. It also means that we can start marching on to the other adjacent provinces and capture everything before the Ottomans even realize what's happening. Don't be too worried about doing a little bit of carpet sieging around here. As long as the Ottoman army is far enough, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. As I was saying, this is not going to be an easy war, so be very careful where you fight your battles. The Ottomans managed to completely ignore every single one of my forts and bring a massive stack to Vienna, whilst at the same time they're still sieging down stuff that I've sieged down in the Balkans. But after we kick their butts at Vienna, we're gonna come back here and we're gonna take Constantinople from them. Now this should be a fairly easy battle. We do outnumber them by quite a little bit, and they did roll a 0. Oh my god, they're actually gonna win this. Dude, this nation is just way too overpowered. Seriously, the Ottomans are insanely overpowered. Not even joking right now. We did win. Okay, never mind. We won because we sallied the troops from here, which was great and a pro-gamer move, let's face it. With a bit of perseverance, we've taken back the lands from the Turks. We had to get our mercenary company since our manpower pool was drained for a while there. I have to be honest, I'm pretty much as sweaty as Jaime Lannister was in that tower. Since we're being honest, the real reason I let the Poles go into this war with me was so that the Turks plunder and pillage their lands rather than mine. Of course, the Turks always will focus on the weakest of an alliance member. In my case, that would be obviously the Poles. Gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed in the Winged Hussars. They actually gave the Ottomans a province. Even though we're winning this, like the Ottomans pretty much lost their entire army and we have all the Balkans, we just have to wait for the capital to siege down and for the ticking war score to go up a little bit more. Realistically speaking, this war can drag on for quite a long time and you don't want that to happen. What you want to do is you want to peace out, give as many provinces as you can to the Byzantines. Do not give Selanik, the fort in the south, but do give Gelibolu. That is actually going to be quite a good idea. And also take Kostendil for yourself, which unifies your southern holdings with the rest of your empire. Another reason why we are taking Kostendil is because this is a Bulgarian culture province with a Bulgarian core. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to release Bulgaria, which means that in the next war against the Ottomans, we have all of the Balkans as our cores via the Byzantines and the Bulgarians. So when we do declare the war, it's going to be a lot easier. First off, because we still have the forts that the Ottomans have, namely Selanik, Anadolu, Constantinia, and quite a few other places we can take. And it is going to be easier for us to also cross into the Anatolian sides, or just march across the northern parts via Crimea. So just within the first few years of the game, we got 8 vassals and /PU members that are doing all the dirty work for us. Look at this. Not to mention, we have 4 gold mines. So after your initial expansion, the later expansion should of course include the rest of the Balkans, conquer everything else from the Ottomans, which means that all of the Balkans is going to be yours. Have the second war against the Venetians, where you take the city of Venice itself for the amazing trade power in the Venetian end trade node, so then you can change your trade capital to Venice and benefit from the trade in this node. make sure you expand in the North Italian part so you rein in the Italians, get the Burgundian inheritance when it triggers, and make your way into the French lands. You also can get a very easy PU over Poland from the conquest of Galicia, but I recommend you wait until it forms the Commonwealth, so then you get via mission a PU against the Commonwealth rather than just Poland. Whilst at the same time you can start expanding into the North African and eastern parts of the world. To be fair, if you haven't watched my Austria World Conquest series, you should know that Austria is likely the best European nation to do a world conquest as. Not only because of its central position, but because of its amazing ideas and mission tree. And since we are talking about ideas, as I previously mentioned, go for diplomatic ideas, but you likely will be behind with your diplo points. So fill this in whenever you get a chance to. As a second idea set, I recommend you go for religious ideas, as you will be struggling with religion both in the Balkans and in the HRE when the religious wars start at the dawn of the 16th century. After religious, go for quality ideas, which mixes amazingly in with diplomatic ideas, trade ideas, and religious ideas, giving you extra diplo rep and even making your army super strong. You can go for quantity, but I recommend going quality because you don't need quantity when you're the Emperor of the HRE. We have 74 land force limit and we're getting 613 units a month. That is manpower recovery, which is insane. So start with diplomatic, religious, quality, influence ideas to get the diplo annexation cost reduction and diplo rep. Diplo relations, you get 2 extra diplo reputation and 1 more diplo relations. And later on you can also go admin ideas if you want to go for a world conquest, since this mixes in amazingly with influence ideas, giving you an extra minus 20 diplo annexation cost. So overall you get minus 45% diplo annexation cost from going admin influence. If you guys want to watch me do a world conquest, hit that like button. If we get 2,000 likes, I will restart my Austria world conquest for 1.3, 1.4. And if you guys want to watch more videos such as this, consider subscribing and leaving the bell button on so that you get notified whenever I release new videos such as this. Until the next one, have a great day, everybody. I also want to give a very special thank you to all of my patrons and channel members, as well as my Twitch subscribers. Thank you so much, guys, for all the support. I wouldn't be able to make these videos without you.